That motorcycle sitting in your garage might already be breaking the law, and you'd never know it. From ancient traffic codes to revived safety bans, riders nationwide are getting fined for rules that sound made up, but aren't. These laws hit your wallet, license, and pride in one shot. So before your next ride, hear this list out, because the final rule on it decides whether you're a free rider or a future citation. Watch till the end. You'll want to check your bike after this. Number 13. Dead red escape clause. You're sitting at a red light. The street is silent. Your engine rumbling like a restless animal. 10 seconds pass, then 30, then a full 2 minutes. The light doesn't change because it doesn't even know you're there. What if I told you that in some states, that endless wait isn't just frustrating, it's legally optional? That's right. Riders in Illinois and Missouri discovered a quiet loophole called the Dead Red Escape Clause, and it flips the script on every traffic jam nightmare you've ever had. This isn't some rebel myth whispered at a roadside bar. It's written law, a safety valve for forgotten bikers. When older traffic sensors were built for heavy cars and trucks, they ignored motorcycles completely. Imagine an entire generation of riders sitting at intersections, stranded like ghosts, punished for being lighter and smarter on the road. That oversight turned into decades of wasted fuel, fried clutches, and late arrivals. But a few lawmakers finally listened. They drafted a rule that says if a red light clearly malfunctions and fails to recognize your bike after a reasonable wait, roughly 120 seconds, you can legally move on once the way is clear. It's freedom wrapped in responsibility. Wait long enough, scan every direction, then roll out safely. You become your own green light, legally. But here's the kicker. Not every state agrees. Cross a border and that same move could brand you reckless. The fine? Several $100s, maybe even license points, depending on where you ride. So next time you're trapped under a stubborn signal, remember, some states trust your judgment, others will judge your trust. Know which one you're in before twisting that throttle. Because what feels like liberation in Missouri could feel like a courtroom in Michigan. And if that little-known escape route blew your mind, wait until you see what's illegal even when you're just trying to stay warm. The next rule hides behind your helmet. Number 12. Headlight on, always. Imagine this. You're cruising down a bright open road at midday, the sun blazing, visibility perfect. Or so you think. A car suddenly drifts into your lane. The driver swears they never saw you. That single moment is the reason behind one of Connecticut's most quietly strict motorcycle laws, the headlight on always rule. It's not about vanity, and it's not about style. It's about survival. Every year, thousands of riders end up in accidents not because they were reckless, but because someone else simply didn't notice them. The numbers are brutal. More than 3/4 of multi-vehicle motorcycle crashes involve another driver claiming they didn't see the bike. Connecticut's lawmakers took that statistic personally. They decided that every motorcycle should stand out in daylight just as clearly as it does at night. The rule is simple. If the engine is on, your headlight must be too. Whether you're on a classic cruiser or a modern sport machine, that steady beam could be the difference between being seen and being sideswiped. It might sound small, but it changes everything. That glowing light becomes your silent bodyguard, cutting through reflections, shadows, and lazy glances from distracted drivers. Riders who ignore it risk fines, points, or worse. An insurance nightmare after a crash that could have been prevented. It's the cheapest protection you'll ever buy, and it's already wired into your ignition. So before you roll out, remember, it's not just about lighting your path, it's about lighting your presence. In Connecticut, that glow isn't optional, it's mandatory, and it's saving lives one ride at a time. Because while your headlight keeps you visible, the next rule decides how visible your license plate must be. And trust me, the wrong glow could light up a ticket faster than your tail lamp. If you've learned even one law you didn't know, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Tell us which one shocked you most. Your story might feature next. Number 11. White-only plate lighting. Picture this. It's a calm Saturday night. You're gliding down the highway, tail lights glowing red, engine humming like thunder under the stars. Everything feels perfect until flashing blue lights explode behind you. You weren't speeding, you weren't weaving, so why are you being pulled over? The answer might be something you never even thought about, your license plate light. In states like Texas, Georgia, and Arizona, A tiny bulb can decide whether your ride ends in freedom or a fine. This isn't a joke or an outdated regulation buried in a dusty rulebook. It's one of the most actively enforced motorcycle laws on record, and it catches riders by surprise every single weekend. The rule? Your license plate must be illuminated by a steady white light, only white. No blue, no red, no neon strips that match your underglow kit. Those colored bulbs might look stylish in the garage, but on public roads they're practically flashing, "Pull me over." Why does the law care? Visibility and identification. Law enforcement needs to clearly read your plate from at least 50 feet away, especially at night or during pursuits. That small white glow isn't decoration, it's documentation. The moment you swap it for a tinted lens or a color-changing LED strip, you've stepped into violation territory. Officers see it as concealment, even if you didn't mean to hide a thing. And the penalties? They sting, ranging from fines that can climb into the hundreds to points on your license, or even being cited for intentional obstruction if your plate can't be read. Riders have learned the hard way that custom look doesn't mean legal look. So before you hit the ignition, take one quick glance behind you. That little light could be the difference between a smooth ride home and a signature on a ticket. Because while your tail light might get you noticed, the color of your plate light could get you stopped. Next, let's uncover why simply flipping that same plate could flip your luck just as fast. Gear up smart. My trusted picks are in the description. Grab what you need and let's roll. Number 10. No flipped, obstructed plates. It happens in a blink. You're rolling through the city, your exhaust purring, chrome shining, traffic flowing. Suddenly, red and blue lights flash behind you. You glance at your speedometer, perfectly legal. Your signals, working fine. Your helmet, on. So what gives? The officer steps up, and before you can speak, they point to your back fender. Your plate's upside down, one tiny detail, one little flip for style, and now you're paying for it. In New Jersey, that simple modification is treated like tampering with an official ID, and it's costing riders hundreds every single year. This rule isn't about style, it's about control and visibility. New Jersey's legible at all times law demands a spotless, properly placed plate visible from 50 feet away. Even mud, straps, or tinted covers can trigger stops, inspections, and multiple citations from one small modification. The harshest part? Many riders think flipping or angling their plates just a little makes them harder to photograph. It does. That's why officers and cameras are trained to notice. If your plate looks out of place, you're instantly flagged. Some states even classify it as intentional concealment, turning a minor violation into a misdemeanor. So before you mount that custom fender or drill new holes for a cleaner look, ask yourself, is a cool angle worth the court date? In New Jersey, the answer is spelled out in fines, points, and an empty wallet. Because if flipping your plate can flip your luck, just wait until you see what happens when the wrong light hits that same metal tag. The next rule will shine a spotlight on it, literally. Number 9. Eye protection. Even with a windshield. You're flying down the highway, the wind whipping past your jacket, the road stretching into infinity. You've got your helmet on, a tall windshield in front of you, and you feel invincible. But here's the shocker. In several states, including New York, Minnesota, and Georgia, that windshield doesn't count as legal eye protection. That's right. You could be fully geared up, riding safe, and still be breaking the law. The citation? Failure to wear approved eye protection. It sounds ridiculous until you realize why it exists. Lawmakers in those states don't trust plastic or glass alone. Too many riders lost control from a pebble, bug, or gust slipping past the shield. A windshield blocks big debris, but not small threats. So they mandate shatterproof goggles, safety-rated glasses, or full visors for every rider. And here's where it gets personal. You might think your stylish sunglasses will do the trick, but if they're not impact-resistant, not clear at night, or not Department of Transportation approved, you're out of compliance. Cops in these regions know the rule cold, and they enforce it. Riders have been pulled over at twilight for wearing tinted lenses after sundown. That's a fine, points, and a lecture you don't want to sit through. So before your next ride, ask yourself this: do you want to look cool, or do you want to stay legal and keep both eyes intact? The choice isn't about vanity, it's about vision, because one small oversight can blur the line between safe and sorry. And if you think the law only watches what's on your face, just wait. Next, we're moving behind the bike, where even your license plate's angle could turn your perfect ride into a roadside stop. Number 8. Legal lane filtering. You're sitting in traffic, the sun burning your back, the engine heat rising up through your jeans. Cars crawl forward inch by inch while your clutch hand starts to ache. But then, a thought hits. What if you could just slip between those lanes, cruise right past the gridlock, and be gone? Here's the shocker. In some states, that move is perfectly legal. In others, it's a fast track to a fat ticket. Welcome to the gray zone of lane filtering. The freedom move most riders don't even know has rules. California first legalized safe and reasonable lanes, splitting under strict guidelines. Utah and Arizona followed, permitting riders to filter forward at stoplights when traffic stops completely. But the laws are razor precise. One wrong move, one quick throttle twist, and you've crossed from legal to reckless operation instantly. This one hits every biker's identity square in the chest, because lane filtering isn't just about saving time, it's about survival. Studies show it reduces rear-end collisions, lowers heat exposure, and even cuts emissions. Yet, if you cross state lines without knowing the rules, you could be facing fines, points, or worse. Angry drivers who think you're breaking the law. California's version allows movement between slow or stopped traffic at a safe speed. Utah says under 15 miles per hour. Arizona, only at a full stop. The line shifts with every border, and ignorance won't save your wallet. So before you slip through that sea of brake lights, remember, freedom has fine print. It's your job to read it. And if you think lane filtering is tricky, just wait. Our next law doesn't care about your speed or your lane. It's about what you do with your feet while you're riding. Miss this one, and the ticket practically writes itself. Number 7. Feet on the pegs, always. Here's the truth. No one tells new riders. One of the easiest tickets you'll ever get has nothing to do with speed, noise, or helmets. It's your feet. That's right. In states like California and Texas, if your boots aren't on those pegs while the bike is moving, you're technically breaking the law. Sounds petty? Maybe. But this rule has caught more riders off guard than you'd believe. One casual leg stretch, one lazy reposition, and suddenly, an officer's behind you with lights blazing. It's the kind of citation that stings because you don't even realize you've done anything wrong. Called a control statute, this rule demands both feet stay on the pegs. A dangling leg signals distraction or recklessness. Violations bring points, higher insurance, or unsafe operation charges. Serious penalties for a quick leg stretch on highways. It's not just about you either. The rule also applies to passengers. If your second rider doesn't have proper footrests or refuses to use them, you're still the one paying for it. California in particular enforces this hard, citing it as a violation of control and passenger safety standards. One officer's interpretation can make the difference between a warning and a ticket that ruins your weekend ride. So the next time your knees ache and you're tempted to let one leg dangle in the wind, think twice. Comfort lasts a few seconds. A fine lasts a few months. Because if you think the law only polices your body position, wait until you see the next one. It's not about where you sit, but who you let sit behind you and what your bike must have to make it legal. Number 6. Passenger pegs and seat required. Here's a jaw dropper most riders never see coming. Your bike could be perfectly street legal 1 minute and ticket bait the next, all because of 2 tiny metal brackets. In dozens of states across America, riding with a passenger without foot pegs or even a proper second seat isn't just frowned upon, it's flat out illegal. That means your buddy hopping on the back for a quick beer run could end with flashing lights, a citation, and a story you'll be telling for all the wrong reasons. This rule targets customization culture. Strip off rear pegs for style and you lose the right to carry passengers. Officers can cite it as unsafe operation, bringing points, heavy fines, and even suspension for repeat offenders across multiple U.S. states. Think about that. 2 small bolts could cost you hundreds of dollars or worse, your license. The law was written to protect passengers, but in practice, it punishes style and spontaneity. Even if your passenger never plans to use those pegs, they must be there, solid, secure, and ready to go. And the seat? Don't assume a padded luggage rack counts. If it's not a clearly defined passenger area, you're on the hook. So before you let anyone climb aboard your stripped-down bobber or solo seat cruiser, take take a second look. Legal freedom on two wheels isn't just about speed, it's about setup. Because while this rule focuses on who rides behind you, the next one dives right into what's in front of you, your eyes. And trust me, even your windshield won't save you from the fine that's coming next. Number 5, side-by-side riding limits. Picture this. You and your buddy are rolling down the highway, shoulder to shoulder, roaring like thunder, two bikes perfectly in sync. It's pure freedom, the kind of ride that turns heads and says, yeah, we own this road. But here's the secret most riders never learn until it's too late. In states like Montana and Arkansas, that classic two-abreast ride can get you pulled over, fined, and written up before you even hit your next gas stop. The law doesn't see it as brotherhood, it sees it as a hazard. It cuts deep into biker culture. Riders have long gone side by side for unity and protection, but states like Montana demand staggered or single-file formation, claiming safety. Lawmakers argue shoulder-to-shoulder riding erases vital escape space when danger strikes. But here's where it gets personal. You could be riding clean, within the speed limit, and still get hit with a citation for formation. That's points on your license, a hit to your insurance, and a note on your record that screams unsafe operation. And if you cross state lines mid-ride, you might be legal 1 mile and in violation the next. That's how fast it changes. No signs, no warnings, no mercy. So before you gear up for your next group run, remember, the closer your front tire is to your buddy's back wheel, the closer you are to a ticket. Number 4, no public road wheelies. You've seen it online. Bikers lifting the front wheel, engines screaming, cameras rolling, comments exploding. But here's the part no one talks about. In states like Maine and Illinois, that same stunt can cost you your license, your bike, and your clean record. It's not just frowned upon, it's officially labeled as reckless exhibition of speed. That means a few seconds of showing off could turn into fines in the hundreds, points on your record, or even jail time if an officer decides you crossed the line. Every rider knows the rush, the empty road, the lift, the power. But lawmakers see danger, not skill. Wheelies, burnouts, and rolling stoppies now count as reckless exhibition, drawing fines, points, and harsh crackdowns across multiple U.S. states. The law doesn't care if it was controlled, if you were alone, or if it lasted only 1 second. The moment your front tire leaves the ground on public pavement, you've lost your legal protection. Some riders in Illinois have been slapped with fines exceeding $500, insurance spikes, and suspended licenses after a single recorded stunt. And Maine, they'll tack on reckless operation charges that stick to your driving history for years. So here's the reality check. What looks like fun on social media can empty your wallet in the real world. If you want to show off, do it where it's legal, on a closed track, at a stunt lot, or an event meant for it. Because while the law comes down hard on what's above the ground, the next one targets something hidden in plain sight, your bike's sound. And one wrong roar could bring the cops faster than a flashing siren. Number 3, aftermarket exhaust noise caps. Here's a stat that'll make every rider flinch. Over 30,000 citations were written last year in California and New York alone for one thing: too much sound. That's right, the same deep, throaty rumble that turns heads and fuels your pride could be turning you into a rolling target. In major cities, noise enforcement isn't just real, it's ruthless. Officers now carry decibel meters. Cameras in intersections are tuned to detect excessive exhaust output. It's the war on sound, and bikers are on the front lines. That thunderous roar once meant pride, but now it means punishment. Cities like Los Angeles and New York City fine riders over $1,000 for non-compliant exhausts, forcing many to reinstall factory systems before renewing registration or risk losing street legal status. And this hits personal. You might have spent hundreds or even thousands customizing your sound, chasing that perfect growl, only to realize the law considers it exhibition of speed. Police don't care how well it's tuned, or if it helps performance. If it's louder than the limit, you're done. Even parked riders have been cited when officers test the bike curbside. So before you twist that throttle and let it roar, ask yourself, is it worth the echo or the envelope that'll arrive with a fine? Because if you think the law only comes for what your bike sounds like, wait until you hear what it says about what you wear. The next one turns your favorite cold weather gear into a legal nightmare. Number 2. Riding in disguise bans. Imagine getting pulled over, not for speeding, not for reckless driving, but for what's on your face. Sounds insane, right? Well, in Virginia, that's exactly what can happen. Here's the shocker. One of the oldest laws still on the books makes it illegal to cover your face while riding a motorcycle. And no, it's not about safety or emissions. It's about identity. The same bandana or balaclava you wear to block the cold wind could be enough to earn you a citation. This Virginia law, born from protest crackdowns decades ago, now targets regular riders. If your helmet, visor, or mask hides your face, officers can fine you or even seize your bike for riding in disguise. Ignorance offers zero protection. Now, let's make it personal. You might think your cold weather gear or Halloween ride-out costume is harmless, but the law doesn't care about intent. The moment your face is hidden, you're on the wrong side of a statute designed for riots, not road trips. There are exceptions, but they're razor thin. Medical necessity, religious practice, or specific event permits. Everything else, off limits. Even your favorite skull mask could trigger a traffic stop. So before you hit the highway looking like your favorite movie hero, take one hard look in the mirror. In Virginia, it's not about how cool you look. It's about how visible you are. Because while this rule polices what's on your face, the next one hits where it really hurts. Your fuel tank. And trust me, running dry in the wrong city could cost you far more than a refill. Number 1. Running out of gas equal to violation. Here's a secret that sounds completely ridiculous, but it's absolutely true. In cities like Youngstown, Ohio, simply running out of gas can make you a criminal. No speeding, no reckless driving, no DUI, just an empty tank. It's one of those strange local laws that catches riders totally off guard. And the worst part? It can hit you with fines, towing fees, and even citations that stick on your record. One mistake at the pump, and your quick refuel becomes an expensive nightmare. In Youngstown and several U.S. cities, running out of gas isn't bad luck. It's illegal. Lawmakers call it creating a traffic obstruction. One empty tank, one stalled lane, and suddenly you're fined for endangering everyone else on the road. Now let's make it personal. Your motorcycle's tank isn't built like a car's. Some hold barely 4 gallons, maybe less on custom builds or smaller cruisers. A few missed miles, a faulty gauge, or one closed station, and suddenly you're breaking the law. The fine might not ruin your bank account, but the hassle, tow truck fees, impound delays, and a ticket for something that feels more like bad luck than negligence. So before every ride, double-check that fuel level, because in cities like Youngstown, running out of gas doesn't just leave you stranded, it leaves you guilty. And that's the kicker. Sometimes the smallest mistakes carry the biggest fines. So while these laws sound absurd, they're real, enforceable, and waiting for the next unsuspecting rider to cross their path. So there you have it, 13 secret motorcycle laws most riders never saw coming. Stay sharp, ride smart, and protect your wallet. Hit subscribe now, because the next ride might rewrite the rules again.